If you were going to convince a non-gamer that video games are art, Playdead's Inside would be a good example to use in your argument. Inside tells an intriguing story without any dialogue whatsoever. From start to finish, it is up to questions asked about this world, the game mechanics, and the player's imagination to figure out what is truly going on. It is this intrigue that keeps the player moving right. What is this world? Who am I? What am I really doing here? Questions and feelings which good art can elicit from someone. Perhaps the curious world of Inside might make me ask questions about my own world, the real world. There is a duality to Inside. What is going on in the game world, and what are the developers trying to make me think about my own world? Inside is entertaining, yes, but it's more than just entertainment. It's art. Right away, the game drops you into a mysterious place. It's dark, masked people are searching for something, and right away, you get a feel for how this game is going to tell its story. That is, through the background. Inside gives the player little pieces of the puzzle through what is observed in the background. As the kid runs along in the foreground, we see searchers in the background, which leads to people being captured, which leads to them being controlled. With each new scroll to the right, the background develops this world and story a little bit more. With each new piece of the puzzle we receive, we realize the puzzle itself just keeps getting larger. Who are those people? What are they searching for? Are they searching for me? Why are they searching for me? Oh, they're searching for those people too. Am I one of those people? Who are those people? Who am I? With no dialogue at all, we watch the background and are given events which just lead us to ask questions. Through these questions, the mystery begins to present itself, and in just a short time, the player finds himself being pulled further and further right, and deeper into what is to become quite the experience. Fitting enough, just as the game may puzzle you with questions as to what is happening, the gameplay mechanics revolve around solving puzzles. These puzzles blend in with the game world quite nicely too. It doesn't feel as though there's a story being told in the background and these puzzles are here just so that there's some kind of gameplay to be had. They feel like real obstacles standing in the way of the child being controlled. Many times they also directly interact with what is happening in the background. In fact, it feels as though, as the game moves further and further along, you interact with the background more and more as the child becomes more and more involved with the powers that be in the game world. As this happens, the background slowly starts to become the foreground. By the end of the game, the character is becoming closer and closer to the center of the story. The more you move from left to right, the closer the background and its story becomes until eventually they are one and the same. The character is now inside this world's story as he moves further and further inside this strange machine. The character is now affecting this world and not just watching from afar. But still, so many questions remain and puzzles left unsolved. The hardest of those puzzles might be deciphering the game's true meaning. But art is subjective, and each viewer has their own lens based on their own experiences through which to view any creation. Inside gives just enough to piece together what might be going on, but leaves enough unsaid to allow the meaning to be interpreted many different ways. Because of this, I'm left thinking about Inside long after I've completed the game. There's what's on the surface, things that can be directly seen, the kid, the lab, and whatnot. Then there's what's underneath the surface. What does that secret ending really mean? What is going on in this world that needs to be inferred and cannot be directly seen or absolutely known? Then there is deep underneath the surface. Is this game trying to say something about society? If so, what is it trying to say? Is the game one big metaphor for social media and modern communication, as some have pondered? There's seeing what the game is showing, and then there's deciphering what the game is saying. Whether or not the developers were actually trying to make a commentary on modern society, people think that Inside does. People saw more in the game than just what is shown on the surface. Regardless of Playdead's intentions, the game has had a deep impact on many gamers. This is what separates Inside from other games and other media. This is what separates a mediocre creation from a great one. This is what separates plain old entertainment from art. Art is made up of layers, and whether they be obvious or extremely subtle, they add to the overall impact that can be experienced by the viewer. They allow for those "oh" moments. Those moments when you finally see something or realize something going on that you hadn't noticed at first. Things that could completely change the way you see the game. Things that may make you want to play the game again to look for other clues you may have missed. These moments are earned through Playdead's patient and clever storytelling. These moments exist because they keep the player constantly engaged without spoon-feeding them. In fact, the lack of spoon-feeding is one of the major reasons the game is so engaging and intriguing. There's nothing wrong with wanting to sit down, relax, and just play a game which is fun but requires little thought. That being said, I believe it is games like Playdead's Inside that prove that video games are a medium which can compete with any other. That video games aren't just for children, and they can be just as impactful as film, music, or literature. Not only that, but there are things that video games can do that other mediums cannot. Inside is one of those games. This experience is just so unique, and I believe its impact would be lost if translated to any other medium. This is what games can be, and more games should strive to do what Playdead has done. They brought so many elements together and took a risk in bringing them together in such a clever way that its impact is long-lasting and deeply felt. It's more than just a game. It's more than just entertaining. It's an experience, and it is, in no doubt in my mind, a work of art.